It is nice to see a blue sky. Right. Tidak berlama-lama lagi, kita langsung mulai saja. Martin, you can start with introduction and your presentations. Go ahead.
That's great. Okay, good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to today's presentation. What I will do, I'll probably stop my video during the presentation and I'll switch it back on for the questions, just in case it has any impact on the quality of the connection. Any questions maybe during the presentation, I would say to save them until I've finished speaking, if that's okay, unless it's a burning question and maybe something isn't clear. If anything isn't clear, or you need me to slow down during the presentation, then feel free to raise your hand or to flag that with me. And I believe we have the chat box available today for you to maybe to post your questions during the presentation if you wish, and then we can address those. We can address those at the end. So I'll switch my camera off for now, and then I'll put it back on for the questions at the end. Yeah. So my name is Martin Maule. I'm a regional development manager at the University of Leeds. Today's session, we're aiming to give you an overview of the University of Leeds, talking about some elements you might want to think about in terms of studying in the UK, things that you might want to consider when making a good application to a selective institution, and then there'll be an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you may have. I believe we've also got a couple of students from the University of Leeds, a couple of, I think, master's current students with us today, who will also, in the second part of the session, be able to talk to you about student life in Leeds, and to give you a little bit more of that kind of first-hand insight into what their experience has been coming to study at the University of Leeds. Okay, as a starting point, why would you come and study at an institution like the University of Leeds? There are obviously many universities across the globe with strong reputation. This is some of the kind of key points that we picked out on this first slide to say, maybe why you would want to consider an institution like Leeds. So we are one of the most international universities in the world. So that's in terms of not only the students that we have who come from many different countries, but also the staff who are teaching at the institution come from across the world as well. So what that means for you is the education is designed not just for people who want to work in the UK, it's designed with a global perspective in mind. So it's a very international education and a very international learning environment where you benefit from the experience of many different types of people. We are one of the top 100 universities in the world, according to the QS rankings. We've actually gone up in those rankings for 2020 as well. I mentioned we're a very international university. We're also a university that's highly regarded by employers. So we are one of the most targeted institutions in the UK by graduate employers. Obviously, many of you may be aware that the UK government has recently reintroduced an opportunity for you to remain in the UK for 2 years after you graduate from your studies. So for those of you who are thinking that maybe you want to take advantage of that opportunity and find work in the UK for a couple of years to get some experience and to earn some money, Leeds is a great place to be because employers recognise the Leeds degree in the UK and globally. So we have lots of opportunities for you to engage with employers, and I'll talk a little bit more about that further on in the presentation. Leeds is also really highly regarded for the student experience. So again, third in the UK for the feedback that students offer in terms of how they find their time in the city and on the campus of Leeds. And Leeds' city centre is quite unique. I'll show you a picture of it. In terms of the size, it's quite compact and the outlying areas are very large, but the centre of the city is quite small in comparison to some other places. So it does make it very easy to sort of travel around and to benefit from everything that's happening. The city itself, you can see on the map, is located in the centre of the United Kingdom. It's the third largest city in the UK. We've got really good transport links to travel around the country. Very student-friendly city. There are 4 universities in total in Leeds, so traditionally a very strong student population. Lots of things happening for students who are in Leeds. We also increasingly have lots of different industries based in Leeds as well. So I mentioned before about thinking about your career opportunities, but that also plays out to things like placements. If you're interested in trying to find placements, we are one of the largest centres for business, for legal and financial services. and increasingly we're becoming quite a big hub for media activity, and two of the national television stations have their primary location in the city of Leeds, and also very kind of cultural and sporting centre as well. These images just show you some of the different types of architecture and buildings that exist in Leeds. So it is a really nice mix of very traditional, maybe what you would picture a city like Leeds looking like, but also some very kind of modern architecture as well. So it's a nice mixture. The university itself is quite unique in the Russell Group, or in the high-ranked institutions in the UK, in that we're a campus-based university, but we're very close to the city centre. So everything is self-contained. You can see the area that's highlighted in green is the campus where the teaching, the library facilities, the union, student support facilities, they would all be located in that area that's highlighted in green on the slide in front of you. But what you can see is the city of Leeds is kind of sprawling out behind the campus. So you tend to have the best of both worlds. So when you're on the campus, you feel like you're in an academic bubble, but very quickly you can be out into the city of Leeds as well. And you can see the train station is about a 15-minute walk away from the campus. And we have a variety of things like the First Direct Arena as well. So we are a traditional institution. I mentioned we're part of the Russell Group, which many of you may already be aware of, but the Russell Group is the group of the most research-intensive universities in the UK. So we have millions and millions of pounds coming in to undertake very, very world-leading research on the campus. The Russell Group can be equated to, I guess, the Ivy League in the United States, for those of you who've looked at the United States as a study option as well. We are one of the largest universities in the UK, with over 38,000 students from 170 different countries, and we offer many, many different academic disciplines. And you can see here we have over 300 master's programs that are taught on our campus at the last count. In terms of Indonesia, just to give you a picture of what it looks like from an Indonesian perspective, so there are currently over 120 students from Indonesia that are studying on our campus. That is part of the 170 different nationalities. So out of 38,000, it is, it's a relatively small group, but it does mean there is a mass of people. And we do have an Indonesian society that if you decide you would like to join, that's something that you can be involved with, and it gives you an opportunity to network with others from Indonesia. Equally, there are many, many other student societies that you can join that help you to make friends, to learn new skills, and to network with people from different countries. We do have quite a lot of academic links with universities in Indonesia. Interesting research activity happening in collaboration, including in topics to do with politics and international relations, health, midwifery, and biological sciences. I don't want to go into this in too much detail, because I'm sure many of you will already have looked at our website and will be well aware of the faculties and the specialisms that we have at Leeds. But we have an arts, humanities and cultures faculty, we have a biological sciences faculty, a business faculty, engineering and physical sciences, environment, medicine and health, and social sciences. So these are the overall faculties that we have, and we also have lots of schools within these disciplines. So Leeds tends to teach most academic disciplines that students are asking for normally. There are a few exceptions, but because we are such a large institution, we tend to be fairly all-encompassing. I'll go through the next few slides fairly quickly because I'm aware that this information is certainly available on the website, but this gives you an idea of the schools and the academic disciplines that exist within our Faculty of Arts, Humanities and Culture. You can see it's quite diverse, many different disciplines there. Within our Faculty of Biological Sciences, we have 3 main areas of focus. Within our business school, you can see that these are the main things that we're focusing on. So around accounting, economics, international business, management, marketing, and work and employment relations, so kind of human resources. Within our engineering and physical sciences department, you can see again quite a broad range of different specialisms that we would be considering there. Within environment, you can see the 4 disciplines that we would focus on there. Medicine and health, those are the main areas of focus in medicine and health. Social sciences, again, 4 specialisms within social sciences. So I'm aware that, all that information is available on the website, and I don't want to go into that in too much detail, because we do have over 300 master's programs, and it would take a long time for me to tell you every single program that we offer. So for those of you who've looked, maybe we can have a chat afterwards, and there will be an opportunity to engage. For those of you who are not aware of what we offer, I would encourage you to look at the website and to read the details of the programs, because it gives you lots of information about the modules, the learning outcomes, and the job opportunities for the future. I mentioned before that we are part of the Russell Group, so we are one of the most research-intensive universities in the UK, and we are renowned for our innovation and our groundbreaking research activity. And I think one of the key threads, or one of the key focuses of the research activity, is the fact that we pull many different subject areas together and have a very multi and interdisciplinary research approach, which allows academics from different subject areas to tackle some of the key global challenges that are facing us at the moment. Obviously, there's one large challenge facing the world at the moment, but as an institution, we've spent many years focusing on lots of other important global challenges that are ongoing, to do with things like climate change. So there's a couple of examples of the types of research that have been undertaken fairly recently. So things to do with microbubbles as a drug delivery device to treat cancer and other serious diseases. So a very kind of science-based approach, pure science, and then moving on to a more kind of arts therapy program where dance can be used as a play a key role in improving the health and well-being for young people living in deprived urban areas. So I think those two just give the kind of example of the different types of research activity that happens at Leeds. We are highly regarded for the research power of the institution. So the government undertakes an analysis called the Research Excellence Framework. The new one is being undertaken at the moment, and I believe will be announced next year, the Research Excellence Framework. So we're 10th in the UK for the power of the institution in terms of the research that's undertaken. Lots of research funding comes into the institution. We have lots of world famous institutes on campus that are the focus of that different type of research activity. So those of you thinking about research, lots happening. We also have an umbrella organization called the Doctoral College that brings together all of the people that are undertaking their research with us, and it provides a real strong sense of community and helps that interdisciplinary approach to thrive when students are on campus. We do have many doctoral and research students with us on campus at the moment. So at the last count, there is over 3,000 people undertaking research at doctoral level on the University of Leeds campus. So it is a very thriving research environment. We do also have ambitious plans for growth in the future and to expand that. So we have this 250 Great Minds, a 5-year development scheme allowing early career researchers to establish themselves following successful fellowships, and offers a permanent associate professor post. So that's something that's focusing on giving people opportunities to develop their career at the University of Leeds. If you have undertaken a research degree at an institution like Leeds, it will open up many different career opportunities for you in the future. And we have had many research students from Indonesia on our campus in recent years who've gone back and have developed successful research and academic careers. We also focus quite heavily on the partnerships side of things to ensure that what we're delivering and the research activity is well supported and is relevant for what's required in the world at the moment. So we do work with lots of different research institutes, governments, businesses, charities, and also other universities to ensure that the research activity that we're developing and undertaking is relevant and is really making a difference in the world. You can see a list of the types of organisations that our students have gone on to work with following their research activity at the University of Leeds. I mentioned employability being something that's an interesting opportunity in the UK now. Traditionally, I would say, you know, the vast majority of our students from Indonesia have returned and developed successful careers locally, and the British degree globally recognised, and as the University of Leeds is in the top 100 in the world, you'll be in a very strong position in terms of developing a career in Indonesia in the future, and our careers centre can help you consider your options, develop your skills when you're on campus. You have opportunities to develop or to take up part-time work, which obviously can be useful for earning money. You're allowed to work up to 20 hours per week during term time, but it can also be an interesting opportunity to develop new skills and to develop new experiences that can be quite valuable for you in the future when it comes to going for job interviews, for example. We have lots of employer engagement, and we also have a very strong kind of mentoring and networking scheme at Leeds as well. To showcase one of the things that we do have a Global Careers Month, traditionally in March, offering lots of opportunities for workshops, sessions run by employers, alumni talks, talking, you know, outlining what they're doing now, student-led activities as well. So it's for an opportunity for people just to develop that knowledge a little bit more. I'll go on later in the presentation to mention some of the things that you can also access prior to coming to Leeds to help develop those kind of skills as well. I mentioned that Leeds is in all surveys really regarded as one of the kind of happiest campuses for student experience in the UK. I guess there's a number of different reasons for that. We have a very strong international student support team, you know, an excellent welcoming and orientation program, which is obviously having to develop and be a little bit different for this coming intake. We have the UK's kind of personal tutor system that gives you the opportunity to engage with your academics on an individual basis, and your personal tutor would tend to be your reference for the future when it comes to looking for jobs. We have a medical practice on campus. You know, literally, well, depending on what side of the campus you are, is a 2-minute walk from most of the campus buildings on the east side of the campus. We have an excellent union that has more than 300 clubs and societies. That's the home for the Indonesian society, but as I say, we also have lots of other clubs and societies that are either opportunities for you to make friends or are opportunities for you to learn new skills and to kind of develop that kind of experience. The facilities on campus, as I mentioned, we are a one-campus university, so everything's very, very easily accessible. Lots of different styles of library on campus, some traditional, some more modern, a range of computer clusters, interactive teaching spaces, obviously the research laboratories for the students who are on the research-based degree programs, language centre for those students who need assistance with their English language abilities in advance of their studies, or for those who would like to learn another language while they're in the UK. And we also have a state-of-the-art fitness facility called the Edge, which has also an Olympic-size swimming pool, which is on campus. And if you stay in university accommodation, membership of the Edge is included as off-peak. So something that's included if you want to kind of stay fit when you're on campus with us. I won't talk about accommodation too much at this stage, but we do guarantee it for the duration of your study. Something that's probably relevant given the global situation at the moment. All bedrooms would be single study bedrooms. So if you've watched American dramas of what it looks like on an American college campus, it tends to be quite different in the UK, especially in terms of the accommodation setup. So we have quite a lot of self-catered accommodation, but all would have single study bedrooms, so you wouldn't have a twin bed in a room with another student. A variety of locations, variety of costs associated with them, and we do have dedicated postgraduate residences as well. And there is a large range of private accommodation options. Just to give you a sense of where some of them are. So again, the area that's highlighted in green is the university's campus. And you can see that's where some of the accommodation blocks would be located. Some would be further away from the university. So that gives you a sense of what some of them would look like. Fees would vary a little bit depending upon the subject area that you're looking to study. So I would encourage you to take that information from the course listing, because that's the most up-to-date source of that information. For research degrees, again, there is a variety, and if you're undertaking a degree which requires the university to invest in new materials that they don't maybe already have, there may be an additional bench fee which is payable to cover the cost of those resources that you do require. You usually have a range of scholarships available each year. Those would be updated on the website. So for example, this year we have offered some scholarships in conjunction with the British Council's Great Scholarship Campaign. That this year would have been worth a £10,000 deduction from master's fees. I'm not sure whether we will be part of that again next year or whether it will operate, but it's always worth checking on the scholarship options via our website if you're not already funded by an external scholarship body. I mentioned language support. We do offer a range of pre-sessional programs. Many of those have been, in fact, all of those have been delivered online this year because of the current situation in the ability for people to travel and to come to campus. But traditionally, those would be delivered on our campus, and we have a range of different pre-sessional programs depending on what level of support people require. Things to lead to, you're going to get an opportunity to talk to some of our French students today, but I just wanted to highlight the opportunity that you do have to speak to our current students through our Link to Leeds site. We have a range of events that are hosted on there. There is also the opportunity to engage directly with the students, and their contact details are listed on there. And we do have a number of students from Southeast Asia and specifically from Indonesia who you can talk to about what their experience is really like. They also host a range of interactive discussions on some of the things that you will want to think about if you decide to apply to the University of Leeds. So I'd say have a look at that if you decide that Leeds is somewhere that you're interested in, because there's some interesting resource and interesting information that can be shared on there. To give you a sense of what we would typically be looking for as a requirement, an academic requirement, you will see on most British university websites that we would express our admission requirement as a second class upper or a 2-1. The vast majority of institutions, probably similar to Leeds, would require a 2-1 or a second class upper degree. If you're looking to translate that to Indonesia, for us, we would ask for a 3.0 to be equivalent to a 2-1 in the UK. And if you were looking at any courses that require a 2-2, of which we have a small number, I believe, that would be a 2.5 that we would typically be looking for. That's a general guide. There may be specific differences across different programs, and there will also be subject-specific requirements as well as the reference requirements, the motivation statement, etc., etc. But that provides you with a general guide. To apply for a research degree or a PhD, typically we would be looking for a good master's degree from Indonesia, ideally with some research experience. A research proposal may be required, or you may be able to apply to a project group. Our research pages do provide quite a lot more information about that. And as I say, there's typically the two different approaches would be either you submit a proposal to talk about the research that you want to do that would need to be supervised by one of our academic members of staff, or you would apply to join a project group that are undertaking research into a topic which has already been established. Mentioned the preparation English programs that are available. Typically, we'd be looking for an IELTS of around 6.5 with 6 in each individual component. but it's always worth checking with the admissions page or the course listing for each specific requirement, because some may differ slightly, but that's typically what we would be looking for. We may also accept some other English language tests, so I would suggest just having a look at that just to clarify. And if you don't meet those requirements, we do have that pre-sessional option available. So in terms of applying for a master's program, I mentioned looking at the course listings on our website. That is obviously really important. We have a variety of application processes and procedures, and also a variety of scholarship deadlines. All of those are provided on our website. I would encourage you to look at those as soon as possible, because some programs may have quite early application closure dates if they are very popular. Some programs will have staged application processing, so that means there'll be a variety of deadlines through the year. So look at the guidance on there and make sure you understand fully what it is that you need to do in terms of the applications. The scholarships and the funding available, again, are listed on the website, and you can find more information. Often, as I say, there is early deadlines for that application process, so make sure you're fully aware of that. Applications for postgraduate degrees would be made online. So apologies, I think I've skipped over a slide here. There we go. Sorry, I skipped 2 slides. Yeah, applications would typically be made online using our application portal. Make sure you have the following ready to upload. So you'll need to upload your current academic transcript, your English language grade, passport details, and supporting statement. Once you've submitted that application, you can track the process of the application through the portal. IBEC will obviously be able to support you with that process, and they will have access to your application details as well, and will be able to support you through that process. I'll mention this later on when I make some recommendations about a good application, but it's important that you engage with the information in the portal and you respond to any requests that we send for further information. Decisions and communications are sent via email, and you can view and accept your offers via this applicant portal if you're a master's applicant. So it's a fairly transparent process. We are primarily focused on your academic grades when making a decision on a master's application, but we do also look at this other information as well, especially for the highly selective courses. Postgraduate, which I jumped to a little bit quicker than I meant to, you can explore information about the research interests at Leeds through the website just listed here. What's going to be important for you is if you have a topic in mind, then you would need to have a look through to see whether we offer any research activity within that particular discipline. If we don't, then it's going to be difficult for us to find someone to supervise your research work, as it means we don't necessarily have expertise in that area. So applying for a research degree is a long process. It is quite labour intensive, so I would be prepared to start that process as early as you possibly can. Again, the admission requirements are always listed on the website, as are the sources of funding if you're not funded by an Indonesian scholarship body. Again, the application is made online. Again, you would need to upload all of the documentation, and again, the requests for further information for discussion are received via email. There are lots of other, I don't want to go into too much detail because I'm not sure how many of you in the webinar are interested in a postgraduate research degree, but there are lots of complexities to applying for a research degree. So I would suggest to engage with the information that is on our website, because it gives you a lot more detail about the different steps that you need to go through, gives you very good guidance, step-by-step guidance, and obviously, again, IBEC can provide you with support through the process. But I would encourage you to definitely look at what's contained on our website, and if you don't find what you're looking for, then I would suggest obviously looking at other institutional websites to see if they focus on the discipline that you're very interested in. If you're applying to join a research project group, then that does tend to be a little bit more straightforward, because you're not having to necessarily submit a research proposal in the same way. You're applying to join a group. Now, it works differently across different academic disciplines, but that information is always listed on our website. Conscious of time, so I want to give you enough time just to some pointers, probably. I mean, they're probably all fairly obvious in terms of making a good application, but fundamentally, somewhere like Leeds and similar institutions, we often, especially for a master's degree, will not be undertaking an interview as part of the selection process. So you really do need to make sure that you have done a very thorough application, because that is how we will judge as to whether you are a suitable student to come and join us at the institution. And at a university like Leeds, we want to get the best students from across the world to make it a very, strong academic learning environment. So just make sure that you're very thorough. Ideally, maybe have someone to look through the application for you, especially the motivation statement, because often you can miss things when you've been looking at something for a long period of time. Do ensure that you provide all of the key information that is requested. As I mentioned, Leeds gets hundreds. For some subject areas, we get thousands of applications every year, and the admissions teams may not have a lot of time to contact you to request more information, or if they do and there's a delay, it means you could be waiting a long time for your application decision to come back. So I would say it's in your own interest to ensure that you include everything in that application when you send it through, and then you'll get a decision as quick as possible. I mentioned being aware of those deadlines. We have different deadlines across the institution, so I couldn't give you one date by which you would look to apply. What I can probably say is that this year we would expect an increase in applications as a knock-on for September 2021, on the basis of what's happened this year, because COVID has had an impact on student behaviours. So I would expect that applications for September 2021 would increase again. And that's in the context that we did see a big increase last year as well. So it will be highly competitive. So I would encourage you to consider your options nice and early, and to submit an application as soon as you've decided that a particular program is of interest to you, because it is likely to be, we're likely to receive a lot of applications this year, which also may mean that it could take a bit of time sometimes for you to receive a decision from us. And if you apply a little bit earlier, then obviously you'll get the decision back earlier in the process. Make sure you check the requirements. Obviously, there's no point in spending a lot of time submitting an application somewhere if your first degree isn't in the right subject area. If you're in doubt, you can contact IBEC, you can contact the Southeast Asia office, you can contact our admissions teams, you can contact the international office. Lots of people to speak to kind of check to make sure your background looks suitable. The next point I think is really important, and is something that we seem to struggle with, I think, quite a lot across the world, is getting responses to requests for further information. So it's really important that if you do apply, you do respond to any requests for further information. If you don't, it could mean that your application is withdrawn if you don't reply by a deadline, or it could mean that you just simply don't get a decision back for a long period of time, and you're left wondering why. So you need to really keep an eye on your emails during that application process and ensure that you respond to it. I mentioned the deadlines before. It is really important this year, I think, to be aware of those deadlines. And obviously, if you're looking at things like scholarships, then we will have specific deadlines by which you would need to have applied for those as well. And there is a range, and we have a master's funding and a PGR funding page on our website that give you more information about that. Hendra also suggested that I talk briefly about some of the common challenges that are faced by students, international students and Indonesian students coming to study in the UK. So apologies, this list is a bit of a stream of consciousness, of just kind of listing some of the things that kind of came to mind that I know are relevant from conversations with students in the past. Language comprehension is obviously a key challenge when you're coming to learn in a different language. The better your English language ability is, then the better your academic learning experience will be. As I say, we are looking for the best academic students, but we also want the students with the strongest academic, English language ability as well, because you are going to be looking to be involved in a discursive learning environment where there'll be lots of discussions, debate, opportunities to engage. And the better your English language is, then the more you will get from that experience. And it is a really big benefit of studying at a global university, because you'll be in groups with people from many different cultures, and it's a really important part of the learning environment. So what I would suggest is trying to get that English language ability as strong as you possibly can before you start on your degree. Now, obviously, you can do preparation in advance. There is our pre-sessional programs that you can attend as well. You can arrive a little bit before teaching commences to live in an English-speaking environment if you haven't done before, to kind of develop those skills, to start to understand local colloquialisms as well, which you might find difficult, certainly in the city. Probably not so much during the academic teaching, but obviously the academic learning language is different and is going to be a challenge. So I'd say try and think about that as much as possible. One recommendation that you may have heard before in terms of your listening ability, the BBC has a lot of resources available via their website, which I think is quite a useful one. And something like the BBC World Service and BBC Radio 4 are quite academic news stations. And if you listen to them, you'll find that the language and the delivery of the language will maybe help to prepare you for the learning environment in the UK. So I mentioned the kind of discursive learning environment. That's really important. So you're going to have to participate in the classroom and be prepared to offer your opinion and be prepared to discuss ideas and concepts and challenge people and challenge your tutors. The grading system is often something that a lot of people are surprised by. It's probably quite a low grading system in the UK relatively. So maybe unlike some systems where you start with 100% as a grade and you lose points when you don't mention things, it's done the opposite way in the UK. You are only given points when you show that you've met a certain learning outcome. And the grades that are awarded will typically be lower than maybe you might expect, but it's a slightly different system in the UK, the way that we award the grades. Analysis is very important and not description when you're writing your essays and you're undertaking the academic assessments. We are quite transparent with what you get marks for in the learning environment. So on each of the modules that you're learning, you'll get a module handbook that tells you what knowledge you have to demonstrate and what you have to learn. So make sure you look at that, because that will tell you what you need to demonstrate knowledge of in order to win marks and get a good grade. Another thing that I think a lot of our international students don't always take advantage of is the opportunity to submit drafts and plans to your tutor in advance of actually submitting the final work. That gives you an opportunity to work out and find out whether you're going in the right direction, whether you're considering things correctly. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities to kind of engage in advance with the tutor, and they may say, actually, the way you're approaching this is not right. You need to think about it like this, or this is excellent, you're doing the right work. Referencing is something that a lot of students find quite challenging, and you just got to make sure that that's done in the correct style. Lots of resources available to support you through that. So that takes me on to the next point. We have lots of skills classes that are available relating to referencing, related to plagiarism, which is also a key challenge for our international students sometimes. Obviously the two are related. You need to make sure that you reference anything that is taken from another resource. Again, the skills classes also cover things like note-taking in the learning environment in the UK, how you structure your academic essays, how you put together an academic essay as well. Through our library skills centre, a lot of that information is available when you're on campus. Plus, we also offer some resource to you before you come to the UK as well. So I think it's at Library Skills is the website that gives you more information on University of Leeds pages about that. So again, I would encourage you to engage with that, because it will really help you to be prepared in the right way to engage with the academic information that you will be learning when you're in the UK. And the final one, I guess, culture. And Hendra referenced the weather at the beginning of the presentation as well. The weather's always a good default topic with any British person. They're always happy to talk about the weather, because it is quite changeable in the UK. We are seeing some quite warm weather at the moment, which is nice given it's the summer months. But you probably will find the weather a little bit of a shock to the system. And if you're struggling for conversation with any British person, just bring up the weather. You know, I've just talked about the weather for the last couple of minutes, and you know, I wasn't supposed to say. So it's a good default topic, but you need to prepare yourself for that. It will be obviously colder than Indonesia, but the buildings are designed to have heating. The campus is all very self-contained. Things are within a walkable distance, and clothing tends to be quite cheap from the high street fashion chains in the UK. So you do have the opportunity to buy things that make it suitable. Culture-wise, on a more maybe serious note, I suppose, is you know, there are sometimes cultural challenges to coming to live in a new environment. People do feel homesick sometimes, especially if they're leaving, you know, family and loved ones at home, and they're not going to see them for a period of time. Lots of support available in and around the university. I mentioned these clubs and societies where you can get together with people, maybe cook traditional food, you know, reminisce, and can make yourself feel a little bit more comfortable. But there's lots of support facilities available. Leeds is a diverse city, so in terms of practicing your faith, I think Leeds is quite a good city for people of multiple faiths to be able to get to the resources that they want, to find the right sort of food as well, etc., etc. But the students will be able to talk to you more about those kind of things as well. But I would say do read up on British culture, talk to current students who are in the UK at the moment to find out about their experience, because they can be really valuable. And our link to Leeds ambassadors that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, they'll be happy to talk to you about how they found it, and any little tips that they can offer you in terms of things that have made them feel more comfortable during their time. But as I mentioned, Leeds is a very multicultural and a very diverse city, and I think it's a very welcoming campus and a very welcome city to study in. Just to finish up, we do have an office based in KL that provides you with the contact details and the various kind of social media accounts that you can engage with to receive more information about things that are happening. At that stage, what I will do, I will finish the presentation and open the floor to any questions that may have come in.
Martin, I have answered some of the questions put into the chat box.
So I'm just
there is a question about looking for a PhD supervisor.
Okay, which is that?
By Yoni Atma. Hi, Martin. Do you have a suggestion how to approach prospective supervisor properly to ask him or her to employ us as their PhD research student participating in their current project?
Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess as I mentioned in the presentation, I suppose there's two fundamental type of approaches at Leeds. There is the research group which already exists, where you join an existing research project, and you can find details about those on the website. And then there is also the more individual sort of research project that you would need to submit to the institution. I guess there's a variety of different approaches. I think that thorough research on the website to see whether Leeds offer the specialism that you are interested in is going to be that starting point. So have a look through, read the information, read about the research centres, If you find that the research centre looks relevant, look at the specific research activity of the academics who are under that research centre and see whether there is anything that seems related to what you're interested in. If there is, you can get in contact with them, and there will also be a faculty contact who coordinates research activity or research approaches that should be listed on the website. We can provide you with this information afterwards as well, but just to explain the principle of what you could do. So you can get in contact with that academic member of staff, copy in the faculty research coordinator and say, I have seen this information about this type of research activity that you're undertaking. It seems like it's an area of interest to me. I am thinking about doing research into X, Y, and Z. So I would say you want to write a fairly short email that's easy to digest, attach a short resume that highlights the key skills that you have and the research that you've undertaken in the past that would be relevant to this subject area. To give them a snapshot to say, okay, this is what she wants to do. She's looked at the website, he or she's looked at the website, read the information, understands that my research is similar to theirs. This is what they're in principle interested in. And then the resume gives an idea that you're an academically strong student, hopefully, and that you've done some research in the past that may be relevant. If they are interested in engaging with that, then they will be back in contact with you to start more of a discussion about it. And then hopefully that would then go on to the next stage of maybe organising to have a Skype conversation with them. If they're positive about what you're looking at, you can then submit the formal application further down the line. But for those types of approaches, I think it's good to try and engage with the relevant members of staff before submitting an application. Because otherwise, if you just submit an application, it might not be pitched at the right level. The person might not be interested or might have no availability, and you may have wasted your time. So that would be my suggestion for approaching, an academic in an area that you think you're interested in.
Right. Question from Ike Dia. She's asking,